So in this lecture, we will be discussing, or our topics will be, the meaning and relevance of history. Why do we need to study history? The distinction of primary and secondary sources. Different kinds of primary sources, external and internal criticism, repositories of primary sources. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss in today's lecture. What is the learning outcome? What is our goal? Why do we need to study these? To evaluate primary sources for their credibility, meaning capacity of belief, authenticity, meaning real or worthy of belief, and provenance or its origin. So I've divided this into different videos, and in this video, we are going to discuss the meaning and relevance of history. So what is history? We live in the present, we plan for and worry about the future. History, however, is the study of the past. It comes from the word historia, which means inquiry or research. It refers to accounts or inquiries of events that happened in the past and narrated in chronological order. When you say in chronological order, it means arranged in or according to the order of time. So from earliest to latest. There are also many credible persona who defined history. The father of philosophy, the father of logic, Aristotle. He said, history is a systematic account of a set of natural phenomena which are arranged in their chronological order. The father of histories, Thucydides and Herodotus, they said, history is a learning inquiry about the past of mankind. History is a never-ending dialogue of events between the past and the present. So you can never separate the present, the future, and the past. Those three are connected with each other. If you are so into the present without worrying about the past or the future, then it's not balanced. The three should be balanced. Individuals who write about history are called historians. They seek to understand the present by examining what went before. They undertake arduous historical research, really tedious historical research, to come up with a meaningful and organized reconstruction of the past. Writing a history is not easy, so we should respect all historians. They dig deeper into research. We are even struggling keeping up with the present and our future. So why should we bother learning the past? Let's take it from the expert and masters. Theodore Roosevelt said, "The more you know about the past, the better prepared you are for the future." Winston Churchill said, "Those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it." That's very self-explanatory. I hope you understand that. Robert Penn Warren, "History cannot give us a program for the future, but it can give us a fuller understanding of ourselves and of our common humanity so that we can better face the future." A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. When history is erased, people's moral values are also erased. So what is the relevance of history? History is in fact very, very useful. First relevance, or the use of studying history. Number one, history helps us understand people and societies. History offers a storehouse of information about how people and societies behave. Example, if we travel to Luzon in the Cordillera province, we understand them more if we know their background, their ancestors. Or we can evaluate and know more about what happened during World War II and how it affects the way we live now when we read books or journals about the event, or from our own grandparents who were present during the war, right? Or Elon Musk is the richest man alive. Do you want to be like him? If you do research. You read books or write-ups about him or listen to his interviews and others. So everything that's been put up from the past about the person, you can read that up. So we go back to what has happened in the past to understand people and societies. Second, relevance. History helps us understand change and how the society we live in came to be. It is said that history is like a bridge that connects the past with the present and pointing the road to the future. Let's say in the year 2050, so that's about 30 years from now, the new generation would be curious why people started wearing a mask in the 2020s. They would ask the generation that got affected by the pandemic or read articles about what has happened. Sometimes fairly recent history will be enough to explain a major development, but often we need to look further back to identify the causes of change. Okay. Although only those studying history can we grasp how things change. Only through history can we begin to comprehend the factors that cause change. And only through history we understand what elements of an institution or a society persists despite change. The third relevance is history contributes to moral understanding. History also provides a way for moral contemplation. Studying the stories of individuals and situations in the past allows us to evaluate what really happened, what have done wrong or good, what could have been done to prevent it. It tests our own moral sense. It practices us against some of the real complexities individuals have faced in difficult settings. People who have weathered adversity, not just in some work or fiction, but in real historical circumstances, can provide inspiration, like Dr. Jose Rizal or Andres Bonifacio, and our national heroes. And for the ones that is alive, Manny Pacquiao, or as what I like, Elon Musk. Or if we go further, the story of Marcus Aurelius, the last great Roman emperor and a philosopher. So if we read more about them, we become like them somehow. History teaching by example. This is one phrase that describes this use of a study of the past. A study not only to certifiable heroes or of certifiable heroes, the great men and women of history who successfully worked through moral dilemmas, but also of more ordinary people who provide lessons in courage, diligence, or constructive protests. So we will know what happened from the past and we learn from them. Example, how can we survive and is still surviving the COVID-19 pandemic? The healthcare frontliners, we are part of its history. In the future, we will be the one to tell our kids and grandkids what we did when a viral pandemic happens, so they will know what to do to prevent it and learn from the mistakes we made. Another use of studying history is that it provides identity. History also helps provide identity, and it is unquestionably one of the reasons all modern nations encourage its teaching in some form. As what Rizal said, ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pinanggalingan ay hindi makararating sa paroroonan. Our history gives our identity as Filipinos. Our own language makes us who we are. Ang hindi magmahal sa sariling wika, daig pa ang hayop at malansang isda. While a people preserves its language, it preserves the marks of liberty. These are the common quotes of our national hero, Dr. Jose Rizal. Also, studying the history of our own family is the most obvious use of history, for it provides facts about genealogy or our ancestral lines, maybe the genetic diseases that runs in the family. So having known that, we can prevent that from happening in the future. Or maybe it runs in your blood, a political character, a politician or servant leader. So nagmana. The fifth relevance of studying history is that it is essential for good citizenship. A study of history is essential for good citizenship. This is one of the reasons why we study history, especially the history of our country. The more we know our country, the more we can love it and be proud of it. That students may have national identity, especially when you migrate or work abroad or in different country. We must have in us our national identity, something to be proud of. Tatak Pinoy, right? So the more we realize that we are one nation, like we live in the same place, or like being in the same house with one identity, we can make it a better place, right? To live, make it a better place to live rather than be enemies of each other or in a physical environment, litter, just throwing garbage everywhere. You don't wanna you don't wanna mess around in your house, right? You want it clean. So the Philippines is our house. We should not just throw garbage everywhere. So studying history is essential for good citizenship as it makes us realize our national identity. And number six, history is useful in the world of work. So history is useful for work. Why? Its study helps create good business people, professionals, and political leaders. Students of history find their experience directly relevant to jobs in a variety of careers, as well as to further study in the fields like law and public administration, and especially in your field as a mariner. Students who study history develop research skills. So when you study history, you develop the research ability because you research if the source is reliable. Why study history? The answer is because it is a way to gain access to the laboratory of human experience.